had some problems. He was in the hospital.
Okay, well.
Okay,
I'll go get him.
all right. Good morning, everyone. We're going to change this up just a little bit. We're going to open the Board of Supervisors meeting this time, and we're going to call it to order. In fact, Mr. Slay, if you'd go ahead and do the invitation, I'd appreciate it.
I'll be glad to. Let's pray before we start. Lord God, what a privilege it is to come before you before we begin to serve our community, to acknowledge that we need you, we need your presence with us here today, Father. We need your power. Father, we need your discernment and your wisdom to be imparted. Father, we want to make good and wise decisions so that all of our citizens are benefited. Father, we want to say how thankful we are for your blessings and to acknowledge that those come from you and we know where they come from and we don't take them for granted. And we thank you. Father, on behalf of all of our citizens, we acknowledge that we need you and we want you to be a part of what we are doing in this community. And Lord, we are relying on you and your power and your authority to guide us as we go forward. Thank you for bringing forward some protection over this virus, Lord. We acknowledge that you have gifted us, and we are thankful in Christ's name.
Amen.
Amen.
All right, next we're going to have a public comment. We're going to recognize the Florence High School girls soccer state champions. And they all come as they enter the room here. Let's see if we can get you all in here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a group.
I'll come on in. Just get you,
11 or 12?
kind of work yourself around.
9 to 12, I don't know.
9 to 12.
Come on in.
Believe
Believe that's everyone.
Heck, I was
Yeah.
gonna say more like 5 or 6.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's a whole team.
See, I just asked the same thing, Keith.
Girls, we're proud to have y'all here today, and like I told y'all out in the hall, Rankin County is proud of you. Florence is proud of you. We as a board are proud of you to represent Rankin County the way you've done, and so I know this, y'all won this back several weeks ago, but then you had spring break. So this is kind of the first opportunity to get you here, and I know it's been kind of hard for y'all to go to a lot of places and be recognized, and because of what we're going through with all this COVID stuff. So we're honored and proud that we were able to have you here today. And Mr. Slay, our county attorney here, has got a little something he'd like to read for y'all. And I tell you, I'm proud of you being from Florence. I'm extremely proud of y'all. And the coaching staff and the parents that support y'all and the people in the community have shown support for you. I hope y'all recognize that too. So thank y'all.
Mr. President, we are really, really thankful to have an opportunity now to actually have our student athletes come back into the boardroom. So
In
that
fact,
we can
you're the
recognize
first.
them.
You're the first ones, really. You sure are. In
So-
probably, what, a year?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It's been over a year since we've actually had student athletes in our boardroom so that we could recognize them. So thank y'all for doing your part so that we could actually have a recognition like this. It's exciting to see all of you, and we are really, really privileged to be able to recognize the Florence High School Lady Eagles soccer team on your 2021 MHSAA 4A state championship. Congratulations, ladies. I'm going to read a resolution that the board has authorized and signed. And so you'll hear your name called, hopefully correctly, at some point as I read the resolution. When you hear your name called, if you will come forward, I know y'all are going to love this. Come forward, and we're going to get you to line up here right in the front so we can get a picture, and we'll get the coaches up right at the end. So if y'all, when you hear your name called, even if I mispronounce it, just come on forward, okay? So here we go. Gentlemen, this is the resolution that y'all have approved. It says, whereas the Florence High School Lady Eagles won the 2021 MHSAA Class 4A Soccer State Championship by defeating West Lauderdale in overtime. I think that y'all have played West Lauderdale 4 times in a row in the state championship, and kind of been swapping championships back and forth with those folks, I think. So that's interesting. This is a 4 time in a row. And by the way, in 2018, this group and their predecessors won state championship and beat West Lauderdale in overtime. I think it may have been the same score, wasn't it, Coach? All right, so it made the resolution pretty easy as far as some of the details. As the score was identical, the opponent was identical. Whereas this talented group of athletes competed at the highest level in a total team effort that resulted in a season record of 18-2-1. This marks the 4th soccer state championship for Florence High School. They are adding to championships they won in 2012, 2013, and 2018. So members of the team are these: seniors, Jesse Heflin, Morgan Phillips, Olivia Burnham, Madison Carroll. Okay. Our juniors are Shaylin Quick and Madeline Edwards. Our sophomores, Addie Grace Barnard, Christina Guzman. Is it Barnard?
It's Bernard.
Bernard, thank you. Sorry about that. Brianna Goza. Freshman, Kaylee Lilly, Riley Raymond, Leslie Carroll, Megan Spencer. Our 8th graders, Caroline Sanford, Cameron Frazier, Rachel Parr. Our 7th graders, Kylie Clower, Mary Elise Taylor, Sydney O'Hare, Skyla Yunt. Our team managers are Kira Birch and Mary Traylor, and the student athletic trainer is Jesse Broadwater. Guys, we always try to make it a point to encourage our student athletes to be both athletes and students, and so as a part of our resolutions, we always include the composite or overall GPA of the team, so you're going to be impressed. The most impressive statistic compiled by the Florence High School Lady Eagles soccer team is their overall team GPA, 3.81. Congratulations, ladies. Fantastic. Whereas the Florence High School soccer coaching staff is under the direction of Coach Bill Hood, Coach, come on forward, and Assistant Coach Josh Cavanaugh, Principal Tony Martin, who's here, and we're glad that he's able to be with us, and the administration of Florence High School are commended. They're to be commended for their outstanding commitment to both academic and athletic success. Now, therefore, it's resolved by the Board of Supervisors that we commend and congratulate the members of the Florence High School Lady Eagles soccer team, the coaching staff, and the administrative leadership of Florence High School for their championship 2021 season. On behalf of all citizens of Rankin County, we extend our heartfelt wishes for continued success on and off the field. This resolution is signed by each of the members of the Board of Supervisors and by our Chancery Clerk. Ladies, congratulations on behalf of all Rankin County citizens on a job well done.
Awesome. Awesome.
Make sure you have your mask off so we can see your faces in the picture.
Hey, Brian, you're an alderman. Come up here. Hop in the picture. You sure? Come on. You're an alderman, for goodness sake.
So who won it last year? Y'all did. Did West Lauderdale win?
Let's don't talk about that.
Yeah.
Let's don't bring that up again.
Heck yeah, y'all set the standard now.
Yeah.
Great job.
About me and games.
Y'all don't put any pressure on anybody at all.
Gentlemen, given the success of this particular team, I think we are well served to go ahead and start referring to Florence High School's lady soccer team as the University of Alabama.
Oh, that had to come from Alabama guy.
It's good to be with more lawyers. They didn't know I was going to say that, lady, so don't be.
We're very proud of y'all, though. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We
guys.
just wish your parents could be here.
Hey,
I have the original of the resolution. I'm gonna give this Coach Hood as suitable for framing. Ladies, thank y'all for joining us today. It's been really fun to have y'all.
and I got one more thing I wanna do. I know that y'all are trying to raise money for your rings, and we're working on that, and I want to start with my donation here to Coach, or
Thank you,
Ms.
sir.
Martin, anyway, and I look forward to having the ring presentation and being there to see y'all get your rings. But anyway, we are extremely proud of y'all. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Jared,
Yeah.
do you want to go
Yeah.
Hey, Mr. Martin, hang on a minute, I got one more thing for you.
Oh, man. Good gracious. Jared, I guess he decided to leave the meeting.
He's going to pick something off the
Y'all for it.
We've gone to 5 this next year, or the next 2 years. Oh, wonderful. Yes, sir. Okay. We're going on 5A.
Wow.
Keep growing.
Well, you knew that was gonna happen,
Yeah,
right?
it was.
Yeah.
Y'all
Yeah.
supporting us so good. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you, man.
They were kind of the big boys in 4A, now they're getting real big.
They got the good one.
Party now.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, that was
Yeah.
that was fun. That was something we hadn't done in a long time in here. Anyway, I just want to back up now and call what's called the Planning Commission meeting to order. This
Jared,
time.
we'll have the minutes reflect that we're recessing the board meeting, and now we can open the public.
Okay.
The public, I'm sorry, the planning commission.
Okay. All right, minutes will reflect that. Okay, is there any old business, anything?
Did y'all approve the minutes?
Huh?
The
I make a
minutes?
motion to approve the February 25th
Okay,
minutes.
motion approved by Brad, second
Second.
by Steve. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. All right. Now, new consideration.
All right, the first item under new considerations is a conditional use permit for Paul and Kim Edwards on Bragg Street. Bragg Street runs east and west off of Highway 471. This property is located on the east side of Highway 471. That's an aerial view of the property. They're seeking the conditional use permit to construct a home with metal siding on the exterior. It's a 3.52 acre parcel. It's zoned RE1. The RE1 doesn't allow for that metal exterior. This is their site plan. This is showing where their driveway will come in off of Bragg. The house will be located here. These are the elevations of the home. They will have a brick or stone wainscot at the bottom, approximately 3 foot high. The home will contain 24 square feet of heated and cooled living space, and then the 4-car garage will also contain 2,400 square feet. This is just a picture of what it will be very similar to. And the Edwards are here if you have questions for them. This is a view of that property where the home will be built. And then these are surrounding properties. So that's it.
This is near La Bourgeois.
Well, it is close to La Bourgeois, but it's not a subdivision. This property is not part of a subdivision. It's getting close to La Bourgeois. Right there.
Paul, I've had some people, I didn't realize this was y'all. I have had some people in La Bourgeois that call, and they have an issue that maybe the large, garage was gonna be something commercial.
No, sir. There's an option. I can either put campers, boats, four-wheelers, antique cars out in my yard for everybody to look at, or I can put them in my four-car garage.
Nothing
I
commercial.
mean, there's
nothing-
no commercial.
All right, let's set it. I make a motion to set the public hearing.
Second.
All right, motion set the public hearing by Mr. Gaines, second by Brad. Any discussion? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Are you planning on doing all the outside metal, or is it gonna be,
Yes, if I can
yeah, give some ideas what y'all.
picture back up.
Said the first 3 foot
But
from the
that's a good
ground up
picture.
is gonna be stone.
I don't know if you
Or
can
brick.
see it. It'll be stone or brick.
Can you see that?
Yep.
Wainscot
over
all,
there.
all the way around.
Well,
Which one?
There will be a difference. That large chimney that you see there in the front, that won't be there.
Yeah.
That will actually be the front door, and that'll be windows across the front. There will be a fireplace, but it'll be vent-free inside. No exterior chimney. But the wraparound porch that you see there will be there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Looking at the garage, the footprint of the garage will be the same as the house. On these pictures, they tip out. It's got an extra 10 feet on each side.
Mhm.
That footprint is a 60-foot by 60-foot garage. Ours will be a 40 by 60,
similar, yeah.
similar.
Yeah. Is it, can you tell that's metal?
It looks like board and batten, I mean, from a distance, but it'll be metal.
Yeah.
And in fact, the whole structure will be steel construction.
Right.
14-inch I-beams.
Yeah. I was just curious, the outside was gonna be metal or not. I mean, it didn't really look like metal. That's why I was asking.
It's gonna be ivory in color and the roof is gonna be copper, so if you weren't looking for metal, you wouldn't really know that it's metal.
I got you.
They got some stuff now that, like you said, you think you don't realize it's metal, the design, the way it's made.
Yeah. Well, those are definitely popular nowadays, you
They
know,
are.
for sure.
And maintenance free.
Just out of curiosity, what is the square foot cost supposed to be in compared to construction?
This is the first time I've built a house like this. I've built a few houses in the past for myself, but it's been conventional, just stick construction.
Right.
And prices are changing as we speak.
Daily, yes.
So,
So y'all have an estimate though, what is the,
We have an estimate for just the shell, not even concrete.
Yeah.
And this was back in November, and it was roughly $240,000 just for
mean-
the shell.
No,
so.
It
And
doesn't include
that's-
anything interior.
That was
That
no
won't-
interior, that was not concrete, roughed in plumbing,
Yeah.
site work.
So that's $100 square foot.
that won't be close now.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not gonna be anywhere.
Since,
Unless you booked it back then.
Oh, I'm sorry, because it was 5,000. Yeah.
4,800 square feet.
Yeah,
Square
okay.
feet, so 50 foot, but that doesn't
Well,
include.
that's without a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be shy.
I was just curious what the general said, yeah.
We're trying to stay on top of it, construction pricing, because we've got a lot of construction projects around here, so we're
Right.
trying to get an idea on, especially the metal costs, what's happening in the market.
It's
What we're
typical-
seeing is pressure to drive prices up.
It's typically a little bit less than your normal average home, but the rate's coming up, I mean, it may be
Yeah.
about the same.
Metal pricing may flip that script a
Yeah.
little bit.
We're hoping and praying
we're
not,
seeing.
but
No doubt. Well, Kim, it's not my district, but I can tell you, it probably do y'all good if you get around your neighbors and.
We've got 4 neighbors on Bragg Street, and we've talked to 3 of them. The newest one just bought the house, actually fronts on 471. They just bought it about a month ago, and I believe they're Jake and Rhonda. We've not had the pleasure of meeting them yet. But the other 3 neighbors are looking forward to this. In fact, one at the very end of the street, and I'm quoting him, he said he's excited about it and has no doubt that this is going to increase the value of his home. So whether that's true or not, but we have no objections from any of our neighbors.
Well, that's a big,
Mhm.
and we took them the photos before we even started the process to say, this is kind of what we have in mind. Do you guys have any objections? Because, we kind of want to
Right.
know what we're looking
No
at, and
doubt.
everybody
Yeah.
was supportive.
When that sign goes up, people start
that's right.
making phone calls and
Yep.
wondering what's going on, so we tried to speak with them first.
That's all
Okay.
the question I had. See y'all in a month.
Appreciate your time.
J-
Thank you.
April 5th?
Thank you.
All right. So we have-
It's Monday,
did we
yeah,
vote
April
on it?
5th.
We did vote on it, you just, we got questions after, okay, all right, thank y'all.
So much.
Thank you.
All right,
So, did y'all set the public hearing? I don't-
yeah, that's it, that we did.
Steve did, and I
Yeah, he, I wasn't sure we ever voted because
Wasn't
Jay
sure
was
you
asking
did
some
either.
questions.
All right, the next item is a conditional use permit for Brandon Chapman, 1222 Old Fannin Road, Suite B. Mr. Chapman is seeking the conditional use permit to operate a vehicle sales business on this property. It's a 1.50 acre parcel. It's zone C2. The name of his business is Dash Auto House. It's an internet dealership that markets vehicles online as well as on site. That's an aerial view. You can see that existing building. This is their site plan. They show an area to park approximately 9 vehicles along here to market them for sale. The rest of their inventory will be stored in the warehouse area of the building. This is a view of that building. The application lists the hours of operation as Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturday 9 to 2, and closed on Sunday. This is a view of the back of that building and where it circles around and comes back out on Old Fannin. These are surrounding properties, and I'm not sure if he's here today or not, if you have questions.
He's
but
here.
He is, okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, well, I haven't spoken to you, but personally, I'm just not fired up by having another car lot on Old Fannin. So, but, that's just my opinion. If y'all wanna set the hearing.
Jay, I think we tried to communicate to the applicant that the thought process is we have enough outside storage in that area already without granting another conditional use for more outside storage. In other words, the properties that are already there have adequate outside storage to accommodate this type of use in that area, and that the board's position was we need to start backing away from variances or conditional uses for outside storage in what is a C2, right? So we only allow outside storage as a conditional use in the C2, and the board felt like it had gone far enough on C2 properties in that area. So we communicated that to the applicant. The applicant decided to go ahead and pursue the application, even knowing that was the board's position. So at the moment, I think the board's unstated position about this application is that if it grants a conditional use, one of the conditions would be no outside storage. So that's been communicated clearly to the applicant, and if he wants to continue to pursue it, understanding that there won't be any vehicles outside for display as a part of an inventory package, then we're ready to continue. But I think it's only fair to tell the applicant now, before we get into the public hearing, that that's what the position of the board's going to be.
So if you wish, if you wanna go ahead with the public hearing, we'll go ahead and set it. But just know that, I feel like that's probably gonna be the outcome.
All right,
Okay.
You all
All right.
set it?
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing.
Second.
motion set the public hearing by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Cross. Any discussion? Not all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
All right, the next item is county-initiated map correction for 2 parcels out on Highway 468. They're at 474 and 476 Highway 468. These 2 properties are owned by Hendra Harris and her son Andrew. This is an aerial photo. Both of the properties have a single-family home on them. They're currently zoned MHP. They adjoin Duncan Mobile Home Park to the north and Country Meadows Manufactured Home Park on the west. They also adjoin RE1A zoning. And so I checked the existing land use map and the future land use map to see how they were shown. Those properties are shown as medium density residential. If they were a manufactured home park, they would be high density. Also, Sewer is not available to that property to support the high-density mobile home park classification. This is a view of Ms. Harris' property, and this is her son's property. And these are surrounding properties.
And they just wanting to get it rezoned, get it out of the.
We're just changing
mobile
it to the adjoining RE1A, because they do have single-family homes on them. They have for years.
I'll make
And
a
that's
mo-
what the future land use shows.
I'll make a motion, set hearing.
Second.
All right, motion sets the public hearing. Brad, second by Steve. Is that right?
That'd be good.
Yeah. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
All right, next is county-initiated rezoning for Freedom Farms Phase 2 and 3. These properties are on Stoll and Stump Ridge Road. Phase 2 of Freedom Farms is here. It has 6 lots. Phase 3 has 13 lots. That's an aerial view of the property. This property is zoned A1, which doesn't allow for development of subdivisions, and so it's being rezoned to the RE1 classification. This is a view of that property on Stoll and Stump Ridge. And these are
Motion to set
surrounding.
it.
Second.
Motion sets the public hearing. Steve, second by Jake. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, the next item is a conditional use permit for Kazak Properties LLC at 130 Baker Lane. Radam and Carrie Kazak are seeking the conditional use permit for a commercial office warehouse development. It's a 7.47 acre parcel. It's zone C2. This is an aerial view of that property. The Kazaks are wanting to see if they can be approved for this use before they obtain the detailed drawings. This is their preliminary site plan. They show their proposed layout of buildings. 2 would front here on Baker Lane. They're proposing those 2 buildings will be similar to the buildings out on Highway 80 on East Business Park Drive. They also have pictures here showing what each of those buildings would look like. These, they say, are single slope shops, 20 by 40. There's a picture here of what those would look like. And then over here on this side, the blue buildings, those are shop warehouse, 40 by 50. And they are similar to one of the buildings out on Highway 82 on East Business Park. The southern portion of that property, they're proposing open storage for RVs and trailers. That's an aerial view just with their site plan or their lot layout shown. This is a view of that property. These are surrounding properties. And the Kazaks are here today if y'all have questions for them.
I do. I've had some calls about that, the open storage and even some of those other buildings from neighbors. They live on either side, really, of the property, and they're concerned about things coming in and out at night and lighting, that it would change their atmosphere from a residential. It's gonna be, I'm sure there's gonna be quite a bit of opposition to that area like that. If you can do something to change, I mean, where you don't have the outside storage, and you don't affect the lighting, I mean, heavy light, I'm talking about, you know, bright lights and stuff. And I would like for you to get with them, and discuss it, see if there's something that y'all can work out where
some type of compromise where you know, cause they are out there in a, rural area, and now they're about to have a commercial business in their front yard. So if y'all can have some way of talking to them and try to ease some of their concerns, it'd make our decision a lot easier.
Well, the way the property slopes away from Baker Lane, and we're trying to get that open parking storage down at the farthest part away from Baker Lane. There's not a really direct residence that would be not buffered by a tree line or basically the natural buffer. Planning to clear everything out
Yeah.
right away.
Well, whatever, you could maybe offer them some type of solution where you put up a fencing with some, something to block their view. Or I don't know if there could be anything that'll help them, but I would just suggest trying to see if there wasn't something you could do.
The way we try to design it, basically those two main buildings would block any kind of view from the road, from the Baker Lane. They're all gonna be brick from the front and from the side, so that view, and really only exposed residence is that small trailer there directly next to our property. And we plan on putting a privacy fence, maybe even 8-foot high privacy fence on that side of the property.
The building is not concerned, that doesn't concern me. These houses are, they explained it to me, both of them built way off the road because they wanted privacy. And where this is, joins both of them. It's pretty much in between their properties.
We'll address it with them.
Okay.
You mind sharing their contact? We honestly, we really don't know.
Yeah.
What if they got in contact with them and let them, if they are okay with whatever,
Yeah.
and they just sign off on something where you know it,
Yeah.
or we know it.
They can talk to me.
I can get it to them
Okay.
if you want me to.
And honestly, we want it to look great, and we definitely want to work with them because they actually are our neighbors. We live in
Yeah.
Virginia Valley, just right there up the road.
Oh,
So
you
we
said
want
that.
it to, we want it to be nice because we live there. So
But it probably would go a long way if you would meet with them and show them your plans and get them to give me an okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Renee can give you their contacts.
I'll get that to you.
All right.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna set it. I'm making a motion to set it.
All right, motion sets public hearing. Steve, second by Brad. Any discussion, more discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, the next item is a conditional use permit for Central Electric Power Association. They're seeking the conditional use permit to construct an electric substation on this property. They own 2 parcels totaling 6.64 acres. It's zone C2. That's an aerial view of the property. Substations are allowed in any zoning district subject to the conditional use permit. This is their site plan. See the area where the pads are and the equipment. This is a view of that property. The Public Service Commission has awarded them a certificate of public convenience and necessity to construct, install, maintain, and operate the substation.
Huh.
These are surrounding properties.
Wow.
This is not energy though.
Well, not what?
Central.
It's not a what?
It's not energy.
That Central Electric has been very cooperative. I just wanted to throw that in.
Yeah.
For no real reason other than to point it out.
Yeah.
That is a lot of impervious material out there. I'm sorry, pervious material. And there is a little bit of impervious. And so Tim and I are talking about, and we need to make sure that we're clear about what's happening with the drainage from the site. I think that's our number one issue with surrounding properties is what, if any, stormwater impact there is. And so we may have a question or two that needs to be addressed by Central, but just want to make y'all aware that we're aware of that and we're working on it.
Okay.
I make a motion, we set it.
Yeah.
Motion sets public hearing.
Well, actually, Steve.
Steve, second.
Doesn't matter.
Second by Jay.
That's good.
All in favor say aye. All opposed?
We communicated.
All right, the last item is the conditional use permit for Baldeep Singh at 1103 Shell Oil Road. Mr. Singh is seeking the conditional use permit to add diesel pumps to the Country Junction convenience store. This property is located on the corner of Shell Oil Road and Highway 18. It's this piece right here. The diesel pumps are going to be added for 18-wheeler fueling. He's also going to be adding off-road diesel and ethanol-free gas. Mr. Singh purchased an additional .39 acres south of the existing store to provide a separate entrance and exit onto Highway 18 for the diesel fueling area. You can see the existing store there. And then this is his site plan showing the second entrance coming in off of 18 and the fueling area here. That plan has been approved by MDOT. If I didn't say it, it's a 4.19 acre parcel. It's zone C2. The zoning ordinance defines this use as a truck stop. Mr. Singh stated his hours of operation are currently 5 to 10 p.m. and that would not be changing after the new fueling area is installed. His application states there will be no long-term or overnight parking for trucks. This is a view of that property and where the fueling will, the new diesel pumps will be installed. And Mr. Singh is here if y'all have questions for him today. These are views across 18.
I have a question. If we already have gas there, why are we having to do a separate hearing to add more gas?
Well, it's defined as a truck stop in the ordinance, and therefore he has to be approved for that use. If you service,
once you start selling diesel,
if you're
it's a
servicing
truck stop.
18-wheelers, the heavy, the heavy trucks or the
Yeah.
semi-truck, then you
Right.
have, that's what makes it a truck stop.
Okay.
The only issues that I've heard is the neighbors are not wanting a 24/7 truck stop parking overnight. And Mr. Singh has said that it's just gonna be certain hours to 10 o'clock or what hours he's using now. So I'm fine with it. And I'd like to set the public hearing for the 15th.
All right. Motion sets this public hearing by Brad, second by who?
Jay.
Jay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay.
Nuisance properties.
All right, moving on down to nuisance properties.
Item 1 under the nuisance considerations is the Dewey McGowan registered agent for P&M Inc. nuisance property at 111 Lansdowne Street. That's a District 1 parcel. We'll open that public hearing. If there's any...
Okay, these photos were taken on January 14th. You may remember we had this property in a nuisance hearing in 2019. Mr. McGowan had purchased two of the 3 lots in a tax sale. The owner of the 3rd lot could not be located. Mr. McGowan purchased the 3rd lot on October 20 of 2020, fully aware that the property needed to be cleaned up.
Or a
There's
few
been no
windows.
change in the property.
Needs a few windows.
These are the pictures that were taken on the 30th of March.
and you have gotten in touch with them.
He's aware, he knows. I think Kathy said that he had called and he said he would prefer that the county clean it up.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Well,
Yeah, that one needs to be addressed by the Justice Court judge,
One.
in my opinion.
it is.
He may need to be reminded of his own obligation as property owner before he
How many acres
relies
is it?
Uh,
on us.
How many acres?
She should put the acres on that one. He's asking how many acres.
It's probably not an acre.
Well, it's nice
It's
of them to cut
3
the grass, we can
lots
see
in
the
Plantation
dilapidated structures
Shores.
a little better.
What?
It's in Plantation Shores, but there's 3 lots.
Yeah.
I don't know that it says.
It's been ongoing for several years too.
He's gonna get them cleaned up. Yeah. And they've been, and I tell you, we, as the board and their homeowner association, since, over the years have done a lot. And your department, I mean, all of us together have done a lot in that, cleaned up a lot of those areas. And, people recognize it, they recognize it, so, I don't know anything to do but declare it a nuisance.
Yes, sir. Declare it and ask the Justice Court to step in and assist.
I'm really surprised. He's been pretty good about cleaning up the stuff that he's gotten hold of. But, yeah, okay. Well,
Is that a motion?
yeah, motion sets it.
I'll second.
Yeah. I made motion, declare a nuisance, second by Mr. Bishop. All in favor, say aye. All opposed?
Okay, for the record, that public hearing is closed. Item 2 under nuisance is the Anna Hendon and Josh Hendon nuisance property at 612 Williams Roads, District 3 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate. If there's anyone here on behalf of the Hendons, they need to be prepared to come forward.
All right, so we've had this property multiple times. It's gotten worse instead of better. These pictures were taken on the 28th of January in regard to rubbish and debris and inoperable vehicles.
Renee, is this the one
That
that borders that ditch?
on Williams Road.
Yeah, right, it's, yeah, just after you get up, yeah, I know. Yeah, and it borders a ditch, and when it floods, all the,
Debris
what a
goes
move
down the
will wind
ditch.
up in the ditch in the road, right. And we've, it's been numerous times, yeah.
These are the new pictures. There's been no
Well,
change.
has it ever been sent to justice court?
It was sent
Well-
to justice court when the father owned it. And he passed away and now this is the new owners.
The wife of the,
They kinda, I wouldn't say they completely cleaned it up, but it got better, cause it wasn't, I usually get the phone call on it. In fact, I may have, maybe while I was on here. But, it's gotten way worse.
Well, when we get the new owners, let them go to justice court.
Has anybody, have they,
they haven't reached out to
yeah,
us.
well, they need to,
I'll
I'll
make,
second.
okay, all right. Motion set to, declare a nuisance by Brad, second by Jay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Yeah. Yeah, they need to clean it up.
scrap iron's high now, they get some.
Yeah, it has gone up.
So for the record, item 2 under nuisance is closed. The public hearing is closed on that. Item 3 is the John Paul Porter nuisance property at 1124 Leesburg Road. This is District 4 property. We'll open that public hearing. I'll ask Renee to demonstrate with the photos. Anyone here on behalf of John Paul Porter should be prepared to come forward and address the board.
All right, these pictures were taken on February 3rd. We've had issues with this property, a previous owner. This is 16th section land. Mr. Porter came in and he had been instructed that the lot needed to be cleaned up, and so he started working on it. He said he wanted to put a manufactured home in, and so he pulled a mobile home permit, but then he brought the campers. And so when he got the letter, we did receive a call from someone on his behalf who said that they would move a manufactured home in the next, few days. And they would be removing the old camper and not using the newer camper until, after the mobile home was brought in, they would no longer use it and clean up the rubbish and debris. So these pictures were taken on February 3rd.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to declare this nuisance in justice court.
Yes, second.
I would
Motion by-
also, since it's 16th section property, I would like to suggest that we make contact with the school district about terminating the lease.
Right, okay.
Okay?
We've made
Yeah.
contact with them, but
Yeah.
not about terminating the
All right,
lease.
so we will ask them to please enforce the provisions of your lease and consider termination. So we'll communicate that with your authority.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Okay.
I'll
All
get
right.
with Renee
So motion
and
by,
we'll make that
motion
happen.
by Jay and second by Daniel. Declares a nuisance. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay, that's
Is
it.
that it? Renee?
That's it.
All right, all right. Next meeting be
Adjourn.
recess.
I make a motion to recess.
All right.
Second.
We'll recess till April 29th. Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Brad. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Okay, moving, we'll open our Board of Supervisors meeting back up. And, looks like we got Mr. Slay. Let's see. Yeah.
Gentlemen, this is the matter that involves our longstanding safety improvement project down at Star on the air gas plant. Y'all recall, we've got a couple of railroad crossings that are being impacted by the improvement project that the board has already approved. A part of that process requires us to convene a public hearing that notices for anyone who wishes to speak on the matter of rail closures as a part of the safety improvement project. They have an opportunity to present that. So at this time, we will open the public hearing that is related to the rail crossing closings at Andrew Jackson Circle and at not at Lofton Road, at Dixie Road at the air gas plant entrance. So that public hearing is open. At this time, I'll ask if there is anyone here to speak on the matter of the rail crossing closings for Andrew Jackson Circle and the entrance to air gas at Dixie. Anyone here to speak on that matter? Mr. President, I don't see anyone here to speak on that matter. That matter was set by way of publication in the newspaper, and so the record will reflect that notice of that public hearing was made and that the proof of publication will be a part of the minutes of the board. At this time, it would be appropriate for the board to consider its action to approve the rail crossing closing and close this public hearing.
Okay. I make a motion to approve. Is that what you want to do?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay.
Second.
Second by Brad. First, myself, second by Brad. Any discussion? Not. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Mr. President, item B is a discussion of and potential action regarding the cleanup of the canal nuisance property at District 1 by county personnel. This is a piece of property that Renee's going to have to help me with the details on. This is one where the board declared it a public nuisance, and this is one where we have communicated consistently with the property owner about the need to clean it up, and that if the county is called upon to clean it up, that we will, in fact, once that's approved and done, we will append all of the cost of cleanup up to a maximum annual amount of $20,000 against the property as an additional item of, in essence, property tax. It becomes a lien against the property, subject to collection as with any other property tax. That's what the allows. So we need to talk about whether or not the board is prepared to move forward with that process.
You want to start?
Well, it's at Cleary Lakes subdivision. He did attempt to do some things. I think there's some more that needs to be done to finish cleaning it up. But the major
Right. The biggest
issues,
thing, yeah.
he just left behind some stuff.
Yeah, it wouldn't require any equipment.
It looks more, and I've been by there and looked at it, it looks more like just physical labor to clean up what's there.
No picture.
I did not do the pictures today, I'm sorry.
What's the amount of acreage on this piece of property?
It's over an acre, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, what's on the property now? A trailer? Or
No, what
a
happened,
house or-
no, what
House
happened,
burned.
it burned, he had a house burned, and, then he, had to leave for a while, let's just put it that way, and couldn't get it cleaned up. When he got back, we kinda held off, sending it to justice court because it wasn't gonna do good because he wasn't here. So anyway, then he got back and he did, make a real effort and cleaned up all the, burnt debris and cleaned it up. Basically, it's cleaned up, except it just needs to be finished cleaning up as far as, just stuff here, everything that's there. Well, what if they had a skid steer, they could pick everything up, but otherwise, just manual labor is what it's gonna take to pick it up. Just to clean it up, and, then it's be his to have to keep cut.
I mean, is he elderly man or? I mean,
No, he's not elderly. Has he gotten in touch back with us any?
He received the mail, but he hadn't contacted us.
Well, if we try to send it to justice court again, Would that do any good?
He doesn't seem to respond to any of that. I don't know that anything about
Is he still here?
a criminal process worries him too much.
Well, I mean, is he,
As far as we know, he is still here. We know his address where he receives his mail, and, you know, he told us that's where he would be living.
all right, well, if we do, will we try another justice court deal? I mean, I don't know what to do. It's right it's in the middle of the clearing.
We ain't got much choice.
Huh?
60 days.
Declare a nuisance.
Well, I understand that, but if he doesn't, like I said, it's not, I was almost to ask if maybe even inmate labor. But that's what you just gotta physically get out there and clean it up.
All right, so this
Not
is
equipment
actually,
related now,
just to clarify, y'all have already declared it a public nuisance.
okay?
Y'all did that not too terribly long ago, so that activity is done. This is about how do we rectify it, given the fact that he's not responsive to our nuisance consideration. He's not been responsive to the justice court side of the house. There is the option under the law for the county to take the cleanup into its own hands, conduct it, and impress a lien. So the discussion is the board prepared to move forward with that component part of getting this solved? Are y'all ready to go ahead and say, we are going to clean this up either with in-house labor and equipment, or we're going to discover what it would cost to have a third party do that, and can we pursue it that way? We think that there is probably enough value, enough equity in the property to justify a county cleanup and the impression of a lien. In other words, when it goes through the tax sale, either Mr. Knaus can pay for what the county spent to clean it up, or the tax sale can pay for it. We think there's enough value in the property to get us.
Well, I think no question that it's probably more than an acre.
Well, I think it is. I just, off the top of my head.
It's in the middle
Why
of
don't
Cliff.
we just let the judge put him in jail now? I
And
think that would
then,
get
and
it
then
done.
if we have to clean it up, we'll clean it up.
I mean, that's fine with me. I just bring it out to the board. But my other question, can we have, in a situation like this that really just requires physical labor, can we have, could inmate labor do it?
Jared, I'd want to make sure that I'm not missing something there. Typically, we don't go onto private property and spend taxpayer funding, but as a part of a nuisance cleanup where it's authorized under the law, we probably do have the authority to handle it that way.
I can see not if you had to bring heavy equipment in there, but
Yes, sir.
he's done that part, and that's the thing. He's done the worst part. He just needs to basically sweep the floor.
Yeah,
And,
right.
but I'm
Maybe
fine with moving forward and put him in jail, see if
Yeah.
that helps. If that doesn't work.
So what I'll need is, Renee and I need to look at how we classified the nuisance consideration previously, when that was done, and what the board's finding was. My recollection is that you guys declared it a nuisance and you asked for us to explore what's the best option.
Right.
So at this point, it looks like what we need to do now is to take that nuisance finding that you've already made and just authorize Renee to go on and file the justice court proceeding, and let's see if we can get his attention that way. So that's what we'll do first, and we'll
Okay.
report back to you guys.
That's fine. I'm fine with that. I just want to, like I say, it just needs to be swift.
All right?
Okay. All right, do we need to make any action on that?
No, sir. No, sir. I think we know what we need to do now.
Okay.
So, we'll move on then to item C under my section, which is discussion of a potential action to authorize permit fees that would be applicable to utility and telecommunications providers for accessing our public right-of-way. This is piggybacking on some of our issues that we've had recently with our important road projects. And this is really just to get us talking about whether or not we're prepared to move forward with a permitting process that requires fees. I'm going to look back and rely on the road manager and my consulting engineer to make sure I don't say something wrong here. But my understanding is that we do not currently charge permit fees to utility providers that access the public right-of-way and impact our road, impact our ditches, et cetera, et cetera. We have been, in essence, providing for a process that is authorized by federal law providing for a cooperative process whereby utilities, telecommunications providers, electric utilities, water utilities, sewer utilities, they're able to access the public right-of-way. In fact, they're able to do things such as bore under the public road without any sort of permit fee. And typically, there is a good bit of involvement of county staff in those situations. We have our consulting engineer review and speak to issues that may be raised as a part of the permit application. We do require them to give us documentation about how they're entering our right-of-way, where they're going to go, those types of things. So that requires a review. Our road manager has to spend a lot of time figuring out who is it, what sort of protections do they have in place, do they have appropriate signage up, those kinds of things. There's a good bit of activity on our side that relates to accessing the public right-of-way by these utility providers. And so the question has been raised in light of the fact that some of our utility providers are now going to require the county to pay them sometimes exorbitant amounts whenever we need them to move out of the way of a road project. In light of that fact, and that the cooperative nature that we've always enjoyed in the past appears to be changing dramatically, we think that it may be time for us to discuss how to capture some of the county's costs related to the fact that they are in our right-of-way to begin with. Okay, so I teed it up for discussion purposes, and now we'd like to hear from the board about whether or not the board is interested in moving forward with that discussion.
I would like to move forward. I mean, based on this past year and how things are changing, we either got to charge the taxpayer or the utility people.
Yes, sir.
Because
So part of the permit fee to be discussed obviously will include what are we going to charge them and for what purposes or services is it. One other thing to keep in mind is this. We have had a continuing cooperative arrangement with many of the utilities, and I want to make that clear on the record. Not every utility has been difficult. Not every utility has issued a demand.
That's what makes it hard.
Right? And so this makes it exceedingly difficult for us because we would love for the situation to be that we continue with a cooperative arrangement with all utilities. Unfortunately, where we find ourselves is that some utilities are insistent that the county will pay for relocation costs related to a road project. And they have sued us to indicate just how serious they are about that. And
You know, we have, unfortunately, right now with telecommunications, you have one group who's out doing a lot as far as putting fiber down, but you then have one group that does very little. And one of those parties being, you know, I mean, just say we got Energy and AT&T. Those two, well, Energy doesn't go out and do new lines, so we don't really have any recourse there at all. But AT&T, they're not really going out and, you know, putting a lot of fiber down either. We got Comcast and C-Spire, and those are the two that have been working with us.
Yeah.
So, and they're the two that are doing most of the boring now and laying all the fiber or infrastructure. So how do we, I don't want to penalize those two groups or discourage them from continuing to grow, you know?
yes. So there's going to be a fine balance, understanding this. If the board decides that it wants to get into the permit fee business, it'll have to be across the board. There's not a way for us to charge some and not others. There's not.
I'm with Jay, it's kind of hard to decide.
I believe that you do have the flexibility to set permit fees for each individual utility provider. So in other words, the telecommunications utilities providers as a class can be charged representative of what their work is. They don't do the same kinds of activities that, say, Entergy does or water utilities do, right? Sometimes those services are actually aerial And so they're not deeply impactful of the public right-of-way. Energy in particular does they still do a lot of power pole work.
Right.
And so the impact on the right-of-way and on our responsibilities to monitor that is minimal, I would say. But our telecommunications providers that are in the fiber business, they're going underground. And that deeply impacts our right-of-way. So I can see that the permit fees would be different within a classification of utility provider. Water utilities would have a permit fee. Telecommunications providers would have a permit fee. But we're not going to be able, Jay, to differentiate between each individual telecommunications utility provider like we would like to. I mean, it would serve our purposes well, and it would be appropriate for us to say, you know what, if you're cooperating with us and you're not going to charge us to get out of our right-of-way when we have road projects, then we're not interested in charging you a permit fee. But in like manner, we can't turn around and say to a utility provider, a telecommunications utility provider, who is going to charge us, well, we're going to charge you a permit fee then in response. We're going to have to be across the board with it if we decide to move in that direction.
If a water company bores a road to get to a homeowner's house, and it's, you're gonna charge them a fee.
Yes, sir.
All they're gonna do is roll it over to the homeowner.
Yes, sir.
And like you said, the problem is we're only having problems out of a couple of them.
That's correct.
I think most of this started because of these two, two
Yeah,
represented by the same.
Well, and I don't want to leave our friends at AT&T out.
Well,
They have helped to push this to a head.
right.
And are still poised and ready to continue litigating against us.
Yeah. Hey, Craig.
Yeah.
I think our road manager has something to add. Mr. Harrison? You got some wise,
Well, I mean,
solution
I'm
here?
like y'all, but I mean, we got to do something. I mean, just like yesterday, me and Brad went and looked at something, and there's a gas line being laid, foot and a half off the blacktop.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know it was being laid. It's gonna end up being right in our ditch, where we've got to dig a ditch,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not gonna be deep enough. We won't be able to dig the ditch properly because the gas line's in the way.
I thought they were required to go a certain depth.
Well, they are if they come get a permit there, but I
They
mean,
didn't
we
get-
got some people that's
they
getting
involved with
permits,
the
we got
permit.
some people that's getting permits, we got some people that's not.
Well, that's
What we're
same,
running into with these water associations,
same
I
way
mean,
with boring.
they
You
go
want
out
to know
there,
they bore.
they go out there and dig a hole in the road, and they don't ever call us and say, hey, we dug up your road to fix a water line.
You had a solution, not more problems.
Well, if
Yeah,
they
well, I
bore-
mean, the solution is, I reckon I'm on Craig's deal that I think some way everybody's got to do a permit process. I mean, it's more paperwork and stuff for us. I
But if
mean.
they're gonna bore a road though, most of the time, we won't even know they've done it on a lot of these roads, some of these back roads.
Yeah.
And then what are we gonna do after the fact? You're gonna call them and tell them the penalty?
Well, it's no different than them. I mean, that's
Oh,
like
I
the other day. I
understand. I'm
mean,
just saying.
we cut,
They'll
I
charge
got
us to
one for
relocate.
Craig right now, AT&T. We cut a little old service line that's less than 6 inches deep in the ditch the other day, but they didn't mind sending me a bill for cutting it.
Really?
Yeah. And it's beyond, I mean, I've got a 10-inch grace period right there that I don't even have to call 811. So, I mean, they're not
We
even.
don't pay those, by the way.
Yeah.
We never pay those.
But I mean, it's just a process that I have to give to Craig, and he has to send them a nice letter and deduct.
I don't know how to handle it. Like I say, there's
But they're
like there was that
impacting,
small
our
groups
utilities
being
utilities are
penalized
impacting our infrastructure all over the
Especially on the
county.
rural roads.
Well, we just
Yeah.
need to come up with, so maybe it's some like these water associations, whenever we have to go out and do repairs, that we do implement some type of fee. But definitely, I think we're all on board with coming up with something. We just not ready to do it today.
I don't know exactly what, I mean, it's
Maybe our-
different in the rural area. I understand up in some of the heavily populated area, But like I said, I don't know how we're gonna keep up with it in the rural area. They go down off of Star Road. and-
I mean, if they're a utility company and they're gonna do something, I mean, it's no different than I do to utility companies now. If they've got an emergency, all they do is call my office or send us a 48-hour notice that they got emergency repair. I mean, we push it right on through, and it don't hold nobody up.
I mean, if they're gonna go down and bore, Foster Road, you'd never even know it. They go out here and dig, they bore it, and you wouldn't even know that. You wouldn't even hardly tell where they've been.
I mean,
So there's two pieces to this. One is, do we want to require them to complete a permit application across the board? So you've got some that are not even bothering to complete a permit application. We don't even know where they're.
We ought to be able to put some type of fee in there, penalty.
That's the second piece. If you're gonna require them all to submit a permit application, do you want to capture some of your cost associated with reviewing the application, determining their depth, figuring out what sort of potential impact there might be, documenting where it is, et cetera, et cetera? There are gonna be costs incurred by taxpayers associated with fooling with that permit application process, okay? So that's where we need your direction. Are y'all leaning towards making your permit requirements for all utilities across the board? And are you leaning towards charging a fee to each or for each of those? That's where we need direction.
Wait, Craig, I thought we did have I thought we required people to do that anyway.
We apply that permit, and the pressing issue when we addressed this previously was telecommunications fiber installations.
Yeah,
We were trying to get out ahead of C-Spire.
It just needs to be all utilities, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's just telecommunications.
It
I'm
was
all
specific to fiber installation because we were having such problems in the dense
I'm all
subdivisions.
for any utilities companies coming in with a permit and a fee, because here's the deal, kind of like the situation you talked about yesterday. If it goes down the right way, and just say you never noticed the gas line, you come back in and we want to acquire some more right of way to expand, whatever. And they're gonna charge us, like what's happening in about 4 or 5 situations, to relocate the utilities. So, and then you're gonna say, it's your fault, your problem. So I would rather have them, I'd rather do a permit, rather have a fee to it, whatever y'all think the fee needs to be, do that. That's my opinion on all of them. Send a notice out to every one of the utilities companies, the telecommunicators, and say, here's what it is, here's the new policy, starting whatever date. Good luck.
And by the way, there are other counties in Mississippi that have across-the-board application requirements for all utilities. This won't be a surprise or shock for the guys, for the ones that are operating in those other counties. Now, water associations obviously are a much more
Well, that's
specific
the
to
ones I keep
territories.
looking at, because that's gonna roll right over to your homeowner. And now that meter price just went way up. And that's where we're gonna start here. Because they're gonna say, well, it's because the county's making us, pay a fee now, so we're just gonna charge it to you. We're
But
not,
at the end of the day, if we gotta come back and relocate it, the fee's going back to the taxpayer anyway. I mean, I think we ought to know when people come inside our right of way to install whatever it is they're trying to install, utilities, fiber, whatever it is, we should be notified to deal with it. Because we're having to deal with it on the back.
well, maybe be notified, I'm just not sure about the fee.
Well, I know the one thing that really has helped us out is when we started inspecting utilities.
Mm-hmm.
That's been our biggest step forward.
Right.
But I mean, I've got 1.5 guys doing that right now. You know, that's not out working on the road no more. They're out monitoring utilities. And it really has helped, because if we have a problem, we know who it is to call and do. It's been a big help to us in monitoring and putting it where it needed to be.
Right.
I mean,
And-
the fee didn't have to be some kind of crazy fee.
Right.
The issue that we're trying to get solved is permit notification.
Right.
That when you go in there to install it in the right of way, we should know about it.
But the
That's the
fee's
main
not
thing
gonna
I
be,
worry about.
if the fee's
I'm
not that
the money's
bad,
not
I
that big
could
an issue
work
to
with it.
me.
Yeah,
Now, there should be maybe a stronger penalty if you don't notify us.
absolutely.
But
100%.
I don't care if you don't have a fee at all on the front side. But
But I
if we're
mean-
not notified, then there should be a pretty heavy one on that.
I
Well,
mean,
I'm
it's just
okay
like
with-
we have to deal with, I mean, I know it's kind of a joint use and it's an odd deal, but just like PRV in your area, Daniel, and Jay's. I mean, they go out there and dig up a water line or a sewer line.
Oh, yeah, they bill them.
I don't get a call on that.
Yeah.
I mean, customer calls us, say, hey, there's a hole in the road. We go out there and guess what? They dug it up, throwed the mud back in it and left, but we end up having to pay to dig it back out and do all that.
I'm okay with, and if it's not gonna be a high, I mean, from getting a permit, just like a logger gets a permit.
Right, but I mean, we've got to come up with some kind of standard if they're gonna dig up our roads, that they've got to put it back to a certain,
Well,
you
yeah.
know, standard
Well,
instead
and
of just.
But that would be
main
different,
thing-
that'd be different than
we
the
just gotta
guy
be
that just bored the road.
Boring under.
We just
Yeah.
gotta be
Yeah,
notified.
but as long
If
as
you're
he
inside
bores
our
it
right of
right,
way,
I mean,
we
I
gotta
reckon
be
what I'm
notified.
at, Jared, on the boring part, I don't have a problem with them boring it, but there's certain ways you can bore it and you can bore it right. I mean, some of these guys are boring it within a foot or two, we go out there and have to dig a base repair up, boom, we catch a
No,
service
yeah, I
line and
understand
then,
that, yeah.
you know, if we know the depths and we can regulate that and put it to the depths we need, it'll help us in the long run. A lot of it we behind the 8 ball on, and we can correct everything forward.
Your fee would be structured so that it reasonably captures the cost to the county to deal with that installation. What is that cost?
Okay, if there's a permit, you got a permit and you knew to dig, and you knew if you can dig up a quarter of the road. At that same time, then could you say, well, there'll be a fee for this?
Or you're not gonna dig up the road right now. I mean, you're gonna have certain
Well, in
restrictions
some
you're gonna
places
put
they
on.
have to dig it because of
Right,
the water
but-
line busted.
Right, but if I know they're gonna dig up the road, then I can look at it and say, I mean, in
A lot of
our,
the
in our
rural roads,
specification,
water
we
lines
can
are
say
real
it's gotta be
close to
the road. I'm just saying
backfilled
we
with
need to know
certain
about it.
material, at a
That's what I'm
certain
saying.
But
point.
when we get to that.
We can
then
put our
can
base back in our road
realize that's
correctly.
what they're gonna do, say well, there's gonna be a fee for this.
I don't want it to get so complex
Yeah.
that we can't even regulate it. But it needs to be representative of the cost to the county to deal with it. There's gonna be an engineer part of that, there's gonna be an in-house road employee cost, labor, equipment, et cetera, that's part of that. There may be a little legal that needs to be recaptured in there, just a smidge. That's gonna be the cheapest item.
Jesus, I hope.
Cheaper than the engineer side.
Much cheaper than engineer. But anyhow, that's kind of the idea behind it, and that way it's uniform. If you're not gonna be charging one telecommunications provider $1,500 in a fee and the other one $200.
Why not, if I can pick?
Sir?
Nothing, I was joking.
But I mean, just for example, like light poles, I mean, I went down the road the other day, not gonna call the utility provider out, set 3 light poles, guess where they're set? Right in the middle of the ditch. So the water now has either got channeled into the road to get around it, or go the other way. I mean, they didn't call us, they just set them, I mean, they're 2 foot off the road, I mean, if a car drops off the road, he can hit a light pole.
Who would handle the money if we have a fee? Who would they pay out there at your office?
If that's gonna be on the admin side, it's gonna come through us on the administrative side, because it's general counsel.
This office? I just don't wanna add a lot more work. And
Understood.
anytime you're taking money, you know, it needs to be 2 people. So
I know where you're going,
I
where you're coming
really-
from, I know where you're coming from.
I'd really think that maybe you would start off with the permit and no charge. Even though that's against what we're talking about, but we can't overload ourselves or.
I think we ought to try it maybe with a permit, that might
Yeah.
be fine.
But-
I ain't just start dropping a fee
And there
on
should
it.
be a penalty at the back end.
Yeah,
If they
oh, yeah,
don't do
oh,
it,
yeah.
then there's a penalty.
Yeah.
But I'm fine with no charge
I mean,
right
we
now,
tell them,
yeah.
don't put the pole in the ditch, you gotta put it over here and they put it in the ditch, yeah, there should be a penalty.
Or they don't fill out a permit at all.
Yeah.
Right.
I think
Because
if
we'll
they don't-
notify
Yeah,
the
it's gonna take a
utility
little while
company.
for them all to know
If
that,
they
yeah.
blatantly ignore your permit process, I think it ought to be a penalty
I
on
agree.
it
It needs to
also.
be a penalty,
I agree.
and it needs to be enough to where it gets attention, where it's not efficient for them to not pay it.
Yeah,
You know,
Right.
we'll pay $50 in a penalty instead of going
Yeah.
and spending $100 to put the application in place.
Right.
Right?
No doubt.
So
I'm
it needs to be stiff enough.
Say
And
do
I
it.
would suggest maybe $500.
Do you need a motion, or what do you need?
Well,
Or
we
just
just
do
don't
it.
know yet. Let's, try to
How
gather some
about
more
we put
information.
together the
You wanna,
permit and let y'all
you wanna know a little more about it, Jay?
Yeah.
Put the permit together, let's look at it.
Together and we'll all look at it.
Yeah, let's do that.
and vote on it.
We'll talk on our side about what's the best way for us to handle that in-house as a process.
All right,
Okay?
okay. Sounds good. All right,
That's all the direction we need on that.
all right. Now we got Mill Creek.
Yes, sir.
Imagine that.
Item D is a discussion of and potential action involving our Mill Creek Drainage Project. Mr. Parker is going to be available to help us with this. Keep in mind, guys, that we have currently pending, active, ongoing litigation, so I'm going to discuss this with you
Answer that.
outside of executive session, because I think it serves our purpose to make it clear on the record what we're doing in relation to that. That project has been on hold because the litigation has, in essence, ground to a halt. We've had an appointment of the judge assigned to this case to the Court of Appeals. And we don't currently have a judge who can help us with this case yet. In the meantime, we have a contractor under contract to provide services related to that project who can't do anything. We're stuck. So we have a recommendation for you. Tim, you want to chime in here on what our recommendation is?
Yeah, so basically what Craig and I have talked about, and I've talked with Mike briefly about it too, is terminating the contractor's contract with the work he's done to this point, which would be everything except what the court has not allowed to happen. And what we've run into is coming up in April, some of the stuff will have been installed for 1 year, which would be the 1 year warranty on it. So we need to try to close out the project and get a punch list done. And we haven't asked the contractor to do punch list items yet, because generally the contractor does punch list items right before he closes out the job, and he does them all at one time. So it seems like now that we've hit a point where we're not moving forward right now, and we're at a point where there could be a good clean break as to what's been done and what hasn't been done, obviously, that we could just terminate the project, pay the contractor for what he's done, get him to do his punch list, and he's free of the job, and we move on later down the road when the court decides.
Everybody clear about that? There were, let's just say, for the purpose of this discussion, there were 12 things that needed to be done by the contractor as a part of this project. 10 of those have been done. Okay? And are working. Anecdotally. No evidence of continuing street flooding, and we've had significant rainfall events since. In other words, the project, 10 of the 12 steps, has done what it needed to do. There's 2 steps left. The court has said, number 12, you are not going to do. Which means that number 11, which connects to number 12, does not need to be done, because it can't work if we try to connect it to something that's not going to be done. Does that make sense? And so we're waiting for the court to tell us whether we have to do 11, in light of the fact that he's already told us we don't do 12. In the meantime, the contractor who's sitting there going, I can do 11, I don't want to do 12, can't do 12, why would we do 11? The contractor needs to be told, why don't you just pick up and go on to the house? And if we have to come back and do 11 and something, we'll find somebody to do that. That's what we're asking the board to consider doing. Shutting down so the contractor is not going to hold it over our head, that his bond is still sitting there, waiting and waiting and waiting and costing him money. I don't want to hand off the potential claim when we could just say, close the contract out and we'll see what happens with the court after.
Yeah, and the only thing I'm fine with that. I just want to be sure y'all go out and inspect what's been done.
Absolutely.
Create the punch list and say, hey, here's where we're at on that. So I'm good with closing that out and finishing it until we can get, but I know we're going to have some punch list items we need to get cleaned up.
Right, and we've actually made a preliminary punch list, and we would revisit that, and using Craig's items 1 through 10, we would just make that the project, and they would punch list those items out, and we would close it out, and 11 and 12 just never would be part of it.
I'm good.
Well, let me ask you this, and when we come back to do 11 and 12 one day, if it happens, would that contractor come back and be willing to come
Not
back and do it?
necessarily.
No, sir. This contract would be closed
So
out,
we would have to
completed, he would be paid in full, and he would be
rebid.
released. And so you would have another project, if 11 and 12 came to be, you would just put those in a separate project.
What are the odds of them being a lot higher than what would have happened?
We don't really know what's gonna happen with 11 and 12, so.
But
And
we're
the
not-
court says we can't do.
You are gonna deduct 11 and 12 from the price of the project.
Absolutely,
right?
yes,
So
yes. We're gonna
11
pay him from
12
1
and
through
10.
10, right.
You're paying,
Yeah,
I got you.
10, yeah.
For sure.
So Slade, do you need me to make a motion on that?
Yes, sir.
So
We
that would-
need authorization for the closeout of the Mill Creek drainage project and authorization for the board president to execute any documents associated with the
Yeah,
closeout.
stopping at those last two items around the clubhouse
That's
that we've
correct.
got litigation on.
That's correct.
Yeah, that'll be my motion.
All right, motion by Daniel to close this portion out of the contract, and a second by Jake.
Second, yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed. Okay,
Thank you,
Thank you,
Craig.
gentlemen. Yes, sir.
all right, Keith.
Good morning. The first item, item A, is the discussion of the RFP format for solid waste and collection, solid waste collection and disposal. Our current contract expires September 30th of this year, and we're in the very preliminary process of starting a new RFP. And our prior contract was for both the collection and the disposal, and we're kind of getting your feeling on this of whether we should proceed with an RFP strictly for solid waste collection and a separate for the disposal, or if you want to maintain keeping that into one contract.
I thought we did separate it to start with.
We have the option to put them together as per what our current arrangement with our current provider is. Do you want to keep them separated
I
and do
think so.
separate RFPs, or do you want to put them together?
I think we need to do it separate.
Waste and disposal separate.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we did the first time, and we got better rates because of it.
Doesn't matter to me.
We can do it just like we did previously. The thought process was you're currently under an arrangement with your provider that provides for both of those. The same provider does both.
It just worked out like that.
It worked out that
Yeah.
way because they were low on both.
But in theory, you could have two separate companies
In
doing,
theory, you could.
one doing one doing the
Yes.
other.
And then the question becomes, at that point, is it more effective or efficient for there to be two separate providers? If you think about it, your collection side of the house is gonna have to go to a transfer point in order for your disposal side of the house to be able to take it. So theoretically, if you've got two different providers, there's gonna be two different times that they're handling the same material at a point. I just don't know.
I don't know how that's gonna work out,
I
but
don't know. I don't know.
we've been doing it the other way, whatever.
It
I don't
didn't
know.
seem to hurt us the last time that we separated those. It didn't seem to hurt us. In fact, I think, to Jay's point, we felt like we got better pricing.
Yeah, they even admitted we did. The waste management themselves.
Then we will, the difficulty on our side is that it's two different RFPs, and those have to be handled separately, and we've gotta have two actions and two publications.
imagine anybody
and
not
all
wanting to do
that
both.
Stuff. And there may be some companies out there, I don't even know, because I don't know enough about exactly how that's handled third-party wise, but that more than likely, there are gonna be more people that are in the collection business and not in the disposal business than there
Yeah.
are in both.
I would
And
think
so
so.
you're gonna have more competition on the collection side and not so much on the disposal side, is what I'm thinking.
Right.
All right, so, but it creates extra work on our side. So if y'all are thinking we just want the same provider to handle it all, then I think we'd be well served to go out with a combined RFP. But if y'all would like to shop them separately, we can do that. We just need a direction.
It's like it's gonna be a mix-up trying to, if the same collector does not do disposal, it's like you can be two different things we'd have to be dealing with problems.
There has to be coordination.
It really
There
does.
has to be a point
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
where the collected waste goes to be staged so that the disposal contractor can then get it where it's going.
Yeah. Huh. Well, we've never had to, it's never worked out that way before, so we really don't know what we're looking.
We're not
would
sure
have
how
be-
that would work
We'll
here.
be looking at, yeah, I guess.
That's right. What's the board's pleasure?
Sound like they wanna do them separate. But, no.
I think we can't do anything but help ourselves. You get competition, you know, I think there'll be more people on the collection
Bids
side
against
of
it,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
And there's
Whatever y'all wanna
limited
do.
on where you can haul it to.
whoever opened up these not dirt, but garbage sites, they need business, and so maybe we'll get lucky and get more than one there too.
My only concern would be that you don't get enough competition on the disposal side.
Disposal.
Yeah.
And you might get hurt from there only being one option.
Yeah.
And what do you do if you don't get any disposal bids?
Well, we can rebid it, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't say we couldn't rebid it, do it
Reject
all
the
under
collection,
one necessarily.
reject them both and go out as a
Yeah.
combo.
Yeah.
That works. You're just gonna have to time that right, Jay. Keep in
We
mind
need to
that.
get on our,
Yeah, we need to be hustling, and I think we're looking at June to go out.
the guy who's over the collections for, and he's very knowledgeable of it, down at West Rankin. He's pretty knowledgeable about this. Maybe we can give him a call and talk to him. I know it's been a lot of years now, but we brought in actually a consultant and, helped us come up with the specs and, you know, gave us some ideas. I don't remember who that person was, but it wouldn't, I'll give the guy a call and see what recommendations he may have.
I think we like the guts of our RFP. It's very complex. There's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff in there.
Yeah.
So I'm happy with the RFP. We're gonna tweak it and make sure that it's reflects our current practice
Yeah.
and we improve some things, but I think as an overall review of RFP, I like where we are on both of those, disposal
Well,
and collection.
I'll give him a call, and then our next meeting, we'll maybe talk about it again, come up with a.
Sounds
That's
good.
fine.
Yeah, I like
Fine,
that.
so you just leave it alone?
Yeah, let's
Just wait,
Okay.
okay?
Item D, we have, Carl is here to speak upon. It's the authorization of the board president to execute all the documents and agreements related to the, roofing project at the library building. Carl, if you wanted to step up.
Did you enjoy the meeting, Carl?
Yeah, if
Learned
I was
all.
President Carl, I would just got you up front, man, that way you wouldn't have to sit there.
Yeah, well,
I learned all
honestly,
about utilities, and I'm glad y'all are dealing with them and not me, but, we've had to deal with some before.
honestly, in my line, you were kinda hidden behind the podium.
I'm fine.
You should've
And I
scooted over a
do,
chair.
and we may need to, under additional information, I do need to talk about the Chancery renovation. Y'all, we came before your last meeting and talked about the low bid on the, Central Mississippi Regional Library building was by Independent Roofing at $169,000. That was under our estimate of $200,000. We recommended, go ahead with that, and y'all instructed us to draft the contracts. I've brought the contracts today. The contractor has executed them. And also, I just made sure I always do on these contracts that they're comfortable with the prices. So if y'all so choose, the bonds, the certificate of insurance, and taxpayer ID number, all the information's there. You just need the approval of the board and the board president's signature on it. Once we get that, we'll issue a notice to proceed probably next week sometime, and they'll get started. And I can't remember, I think it's 120 days maybe they have to re-roof that. Do y'all have any questions on that project? I think we've discussed it.
No, I mean, I thought
Pretty
covered
much.
everything I had
Yeah.
last time.
If I can just throw one thing in, Carl. Carl was gracious enough to send the contract to me. I looked over it, and I'm getting forgiveness as opposed to permission here. I sort of made a command decision that we're not going to recognize as an item under a force majeure clause, which is a clause that basically says, here are the reasons why both parties would be excused from performance under the contract. I'm reviewing all of our contract agreements going forward, and I'm removing from force majeure any reference to epidemics or pandemics or outbreaks of disease. Those are gone, as far as I'm concerned, and so Carl helped me, and we implemented the removal of that language or the clarification of that language. And I'm intending to do that for all contracts going forward, unless you guys feel strongly that we should not move in that direction.
They went ahead and initialed deleting that whole subparagraph, even though I talked to them about those, so they were okay with that.
Okay. That's, basically, that's anecdotal to mean that we're probably not going to get any pushback from that, but it simply helps to clarify our position on it. If this comes up again, that we're going to take MDOT's approach, which is we don't recognize those as excuses for non-performance.
Okay. We need a motion?
Just a motion to authorize Keith to execute any and all of the documents and or the board president, whoever is appropriate.
So moved.
Yep, second.
Motion by Jay, second by Daniel. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You want to do the chancery under addition?
Yeah, go ahead. Mr. President, I think Carl's ready to talk to you about the Chancery Court.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we've, they've gotten most of the demolition done. After they uncovered some,
Right.
issues that they got
Yeah.
going on.
I saw some of that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make y'all aware of that.
Need some bond though.
And some bolts, pull it back together.
What you're seeing is a picture of the bottom floor of the basement has wood columns and wood beam structure. They're fairly large, 8 by 8 or 10 by 10. And once they pull the gibboard off, it bends people.
Which way is it supposed to be, up, down, whatever?
Vertical, yeah.
The door's gonna be on the side.
Yeah. But what you see,
You look, this one you got?
yeah,
We all
that's
got the
that's
same door?
that's the column, and then the top is the beam. Yeah.
Alright, got
But
it.
you can see what we see in there is splitting of those beams and columns.
Yeah.
Now, in wood, like big heavy timbers like this, you do have some of this, what's called checking, which is fairly minor. But we're concerned, that's an inch or more on that column, and in talking with a structural engineer, he was more concerned actually about the beams. So we've got 40 of these column and beams down in the basement.
40?
40. And as you may recall, we were not going to be doing any work down there as far as bidding, but we feel, based on what we've seen here, that it's appropriate to have Ben's forces remove the chipboard on these so that we can analyze
Oh,
what's
they're
there.
not seeing them in the basement?
They're all covered with chipboard.
What you don't know won't hurt you.
We don't, you know, there may not be any more of this down there. They all may be fine.
What do you propose to do with these?
I've got a proposal from a structural engineer of $2,500 to analyze them and see if they're in good enough shape or if we need to
Turn into money pit.
brace them.
Yeah.
That's
Are they, if they're opened up an inch, are they pushing the wall out?
not yet, no, sir.
Well, I mean, why can't we just take them out ourselves and put a laminated beam in
You-
without getting
you-
them analyzed?
You could do that.
So, I mean, that's
It's gonna be
$2,500 we don't have to spend.
That's true, but it's
I
it's
say-
gonna be fairly expensive to
Replace
replace
those
them.
two.
If
Yeah.
the only thing, Brad,
Everything else, yeah.
if there's only a couple like this, you could brace them and not spend. But you could do like you're saying. It's just a matter of,
All you're gonna do is jack up the beam and replace the post under it.
well, you may have to replace the beam. He was more concerned about the beam.
The beam?
Mm-hmm,
Oh.
because of the
But
compressor.
if you gotta replace the beam, that would be a little
Yeah.
harder.
Well, I'm doing it laminated.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but I
Yeah, you can get
mean,
it.
I'm saying harder in that he gotta hold that up.
But you could do, I mean, you could actually just, instead of analyzing, you can just go in there and replace, or uncover it all and make a decision then
I
if
think
you
we keep
wanna do
opening up,
anything.
we're gonna find more problems,
That's, yeah.
which there hasn't been a problem in all these years.
It has not been, as far as I know, but there's no,
Flag boats in it.
I was thinking, can you, seriously, can you Could you drill and put all thread through it, screw it, pull it tight?
There, you probably could. And not only that, you may could just inject some epoxy. I don't know. There's a couple of, but until there's a couple of potential options.
I mean, if you went all the way through it with all thread and you pulled them together, pulled them together, big plate, or whole plate down the whole side, whatever, and then you're just gonna case around it a little
Yeah,
more.
you can certainly do that, but I think the concern that we have, and just in reviewing the picture with the structurals, how deep do these go? Is this the same condition every one of them? And then, this is supporting that whole first floor load. So there's no drawings that we have that indicate what exactly the structure is.
For this pine,
That's what I think it is.
looking at the picture, it almost looks like oak.
Yeah, it could be, usually you would have something like cypress or oak that would be this big. You usually wouldn't have pine, but to be honest with you, it's so old,
Yeah.
it's hard to tell.
Probably could sell them and get a lot of money for them.
The bottom line, I think, is this: whatever the county y'all decide to do, I think it's got to be looked at, because I think there's too much liability involved. It may be much to do about nothing, but
But we talking about opening up 40 more?
yeah, I mean, I'll defer to. It's unfortunate that we found.
Can we just take, random, pick out 10, open them up and see if.
Alternate.
Yeah, and if none of them, I mean, if they're not in bad shape, it'd give us an idea of what was between them, if we were going every other one or.
That's certainly an
every
option.
third one.
And I'm gonna defer to your attorney. I'll tell you what my attorney would tell me, is if we were in court and just one of them failed and killed somebody, you're gonna have hell to pay, because you knew about this condition. I mean, I
wanna fix these, that's the ones we know about.
Well, the other ones, but there's enough evidence
Okay.
here to say there's a probability. It may be a small probability. I mean,
Well, no matter what, I mean, we are gonna do some remodeling downstairs, right? So why don't we just have our people go and uncover and see what we gotta do? I mean, we don't need an engineer to do that for us.
No,
And if it all looks good, then we know what we need to replace, what needs to be replaced.
Now, and the guy you talking about, the $2,500 to analyze, is that, if we got more problems on the other beams, is that $2,500 for?
No, it'd be total, so.
Analyze all of them.
Right, and if this is the only one that's like that, then it's not gonna be that much money.
Okay.
It's just,
Well, let's open them up, look at them, then we make that decision.
yeah, and I do think that going forward with your county, Ben's already demolished a lot of the upstairs, so
Yeah.
just having them take off the gyp board is not really a
It's
big
not gonna
cost.
be a big expense.
But,
Box
I don't know how much benefit you get out of a structural analysis if you don't open it up so they can see what they're doing. They're gonna hedge their report constantly by saying, we did not get access to the following.
Right, that's
So-
only what we saw.
Don't spend the $2,500 on a structural analysis unless they can look at the whole thing and tell you what you got.
So I'm not,
Yeah.
the work that I need to do this uncovering, would we be doing that anyway, on doing any kind of remodel down there?
Not necessarily, because we were just typically you would, the gyp board was in pretty good shape, just painted.
We just talking about putting sheetrock back, if they
Right,
fail, put
you just-
sheetrock back over them, mud it, tape it, mud it, and.
You can do that, or,
Maybe
depending-
like what Steve said, just don't do them all, go and pick you out a few. and
Well,
see.
then we're gonna run into, the one we
You
pick
got back,
out.
you got back that same liability thing.
And-
Oh, yeah, those ones, the 10 they didn't check.
Take them all down and look
Yeah.
at them.
All right.
Yeah, and we're also hopeful, he mentioned 40 columns, we're hopeful that because of the size difference in some of them, we're thinking that some of those may already have, or when they added on the new part, they're actually steel, they're not the wood beams, because they're smaller in stature.
Yeah.
So we may not have to open up all of those.
Yeah, we did
Why
find
don't
there,
you just drill up, why don't you just seriously take a drill?
Yeah, right,
Drill in there, and you can tell if it would have stayed.
right, that's what
Okay.
plans are.
May not have to tear it all out, just caulk the hole up.
And there's no reason that, I mean, exposed beams are in nowadays, so we may not have to go back and sheet rock them.
Right, you make it stain them or paint them if they're, you know,
Put some putty in the cracks.
that's,
Antique them.
Yeah.
We don't really need any action from
Well,
you
it's
guys,
an
just
antique
an
building.
acknowledgement that we're gonna open up, all of those beams.
Well, I would drill them first before I open them up.
Yeah. We'll work with in-house to get that handled.
Okay. All right, any more additional business?
Hey, I do have one thing, though, really two, but I'll
Additional
do
business?
one additional business.
Brad, can we continue?
All right,
Just
yeah,
on
go
this
ahead.
one?
Yeah, we're gonna review them.
Can we go ahead and get authorization for the structural engineer to come in after they're taken off?
Yeah,
I don't think we need an engineer to do that, do we?
He's talking about after you expose them.
After they're exposed.
For the $2,500.
For your review to determine what, if any, action needs to be taken to address the cracks in the beams.
Why don't we see what we got before we
yeah, you
get
can
him in
make
there?
that, if you're just trying to get done contingent, you know, we can give you a recommendation, if there's no, you know, this.
If this is the only one out of all of them.
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
We can get
So
some basic.
contingent on the architect's recommendation,
Right.
it's
We wanna do
authorized
that.
if the architect recommends that it be done.
Okay.
Alright.
So we'll make that a part of a motion to authorize contingently.
Yeah, I'll make
Okay.
that motion.
All right.
Second.
Okay, motion by Daniel, second by Brad. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, That was to add it. Now we need to approve it.
Motion by Daniel, second by Brad to approve this item. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
All right, and then the final item under my section is the review of the agenda for Monday, next Monday.
Yeah, I got one area. Hey,
Okay.
Ken, this could probably fall under you guys for sure, but under item K, under the consent, it's an animal variance. This is Christina Shepherd at 1109 Fairway Cove. I just had numerous complaints coming from that subdivision about it, and I guess maybe they not really understand what's going on. So I've told them to come to the meeting on the 5th, Monday, to talk about it or whatever. I'll forward you the emails I've got from them. So we could pull that off and put that on the public comments.
Or you can put it under my section if you like.
Well, I just told them to come at the front either way, just to, I'm trying to get them a time to be here. But they're gonna probably ask questions about the shelter and all that kind of stuff. I think it's a pit bull situation. So the neighborhood HOA there in Bay Point's worked up over it. So I told them to come in and talk about it, and maybe Flanagan can talk about the process or the procedures he's going through. But if you're all right with that. Good to see you, Mac.
If we make sure that matter gets discussed after the congressman's remarks, that'd be all right with you?
Yeah, wherever you want to put it.
That way,
Sure.
yeah, it's.
Yeah.
it's-
He don't want to hear about the dog.
Yeah.
We've got some exciting stuff happening early in our meeting with
Yeah.
y'all's presentation of the clerk's excess fee income. We'll have good attendance on that from our school folks and then Congressman Guest remarks.
Yeah, maybe even if Janice could reach out to him and give him a time to be here, because if that delays us 30 minutes, maybe say be here at 10, and you can work them in the agenda when they get here.
Well, I'll put it under Craig then section, that way it'll fall down and it'll be.
That'll work.
It'll be close enough to.
All right.
Chuck, you better get your pencil ready. You got a lot of names to have to take.
Oh, man, he got this.
And I had to
It's gonna be a
call
crowded
him, but
mess.
I'll call him myself then.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Is that it, Keith?
Anybody else?
Yeah, I wanted to say something.
Okay.
Unless
You did some
Keith
business, yeah, you through, Keith? Okay. All right. Brad's got something.
the Greenfield Road project, the bridge replacing, hopefully today, they supposed to be putting guardrails up today.
Yeah, it's a little bit of shoulder work's gotta be done, maybe push that a little bit, but they're not gonna finish today.
Well, Tim, no, that's not what we need.
Well, they're close though.
I understand.
They've done a real good job there, that's close already.
Well, in addition, in inspection of the road, there's 15 additional culverts that's got to be replaced on Greenfield Road, and I mean, I'm not willing to shut that road down during the day no more. So we need to get with Mike and a crew and do some night work over there late in the evenings or at night with the road closure.
We got 15 of them, that's a shame.
I mean.
We not closing that road down no more. I've been
From
getting
what Mike
calls.
told me, he said that the road, the part that needs to be replaced are on the other side of Patrick Farms, from Patrick Farms down to where, 468 comes. So
right?
if that's the case, why don't we just ship them all back this way and just go knock them all out?
Well, I'll just forward them your number.
I mean, now's the time to do it. After you talked to me about it the other day, it made sense to go ahead and, you know.
But I mean,
if
a couple
you're gonna
of these are
wait-
Did we know we were gonna have to do these? Is this something new?
No, it's all new, you know, Brad, everything comes along, gotta have it done today.
No,
you know?
I didn't know nothing about it until the other day.
Where'd they come up? Would we get an inspection or something?
Mike, you wanna fill them
I'm
in?
just curious where it came up all of a sudden.
Well, this is a state aid road.
It is a state aid road.
This state aid road, basically we was doing some work on the road and got to evaluating the culverts on the road, and there's 15 that do not have a bottom in it. I mean, so at some point you're gonna cause erosion and base failures in your road.
How many culverts are there?
15.
Well, it's 15 locations now. There's some double barrels. There's two different sets of 8-foot double
I mean,
barrel.
other than the ones we're about to do. Is
There will
more?
be two left.
I just do them all at this point, you know.
Knock it out, but, I mean, seriously, Brad.
But, I mean, what we did the other day, we replaced one that we had in a closure part. Everything else is kinda outside our closure part. What I was talking about doing while we had the through traffic shut down was reversing Patrick Farms back out to 80 and let them go 20 or 18. That way, keep the through traffic closed. That will get 6 of them replaced on it. There's 6 between Patrick's Farms and 468, which there's no houses there. So it don't put us in a bind trying to get the road open. I mean, I got 2 8-footers that probably will take us 10 to 12 hours to put in correctly. I mean, they're a double barrel.
Cause they're so deep too, I mean.
So
I mean,
how
they-
many, how many days do you think you need to change?
If I had everything sitting on the ground, 4 or 5 days.
All
Do no
15?
week?
No,
Yeah.
One
no,
culvert?
that's half.
You'd be
I think
lucky
he was
to
talking
get on
about
4 or 5
If you- To
days.
do all 15, how long would it take?
2 weeks, if I had the weather.
Yeah, I thought you said, were trying to say you could do 15, 4 or 5 days.
But what I was trying to do was work everything below Patrick Farms to 468 because there's no residents that live there.
Well, while they're already upset, maybe
So-
now's the time to do it.
We could do that.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then-
Brad started all this. you know.
And then-
I did not,
I mean-
I did not.
And then the
clear
rest,
that bridge
the rest are
from
between
gravel.
Patrick Farms and the bridge.
Who said
And
we had
I
to
would
do
just
the
have to
bridge?
work
Where'd
those
that come in?
at night.
The state.
Well, is state aid
Just
gonna go in
because
and,
the way they are.
is state aid gonna come in and overlay the road after we dig it up 16 times?
That's what I was concerned about, cause I say it hadn't been that long. I guess it's been 5 years when we overlaid it last.
It's not on the schedule this year to be
We paid
overlaid.
for it then
Oh,
anyway, didn't we?
it's not on the schedule, Jay.
It's not on the schedule to be
Let me ask you
overlaid.
No, I'm
this,
saying, I
if it
think
gets
we
on,
paid for it. I don't think that was part of state aid when we did it. I think we paid,
It wasn't
you know,
4 or 5.
I think y'all did something with Ralph because the other day I was out there, we did some paving with Ag Camp out there, you know, tying the new bridge in. And I know Billy said he had paved
I don't
it
remember
something
doing
like
it 4 or
7 or 8
5
years ago. And
The
usually,
whole thing?
well,
yeah.
yeah,
I don't know about that. No,
Whether it was or
that's
not.
recent. Well, let me ask
That
you,
ain't recent.
Yes.
That's,
no, 5 years ago, no,
it might have been 6.
let me ask
Yeah.
you, okay, if it's not on the list now, would we be just well to wait till it's, would be on the list and then do the culverts?
like if we waited till next year and, or y'all inspect it this year and get it on the list for next year, could we wait and put those culverts in the next
sure,
year?
you can wait, but I mean, at some point, you're gonna, with rain and stuff, when you don't have a bottom in a culvert, I mean, it's just eating the dirt out. I mean, at some point, the road's gonna cave in.
Well, I
and
mean,
you're
we're
gonna
not
be out there.
not showing any signs now, are we?
Nope.
I don't know, that was just a thought, because otherwise we're gonna have that's just the start of it, then we're gonna have the expense of having to basically overlay the road.
We're just gonna cut it and patch it back like we do.
You
all
gonna
the
leave it
time.
patched like that? Then they'll be called Raising Cane about that, when you gonna fix this?
May slow them down a little bit. But I mean, I don't know, Jared, I mean, that's up to y'all.
Yeah, I know, but you know, that's the next call. When you gonna fix the road? It's tore up.
But,
Well, I know people do exit, a lot of them, I don't know the percentage what goes to Brandon and get on the interstate and what goes to Whitfield and
Right.
get on Airport
Right.
Road and go. But it will be people upset because we still got that one end closed.
Oh,
but
yeah.
we're about,
That's a lot of traffic.
we're about 3.5 weeks ahead of schedule on this bridge.
We are
I think
ahead of schedule.
I think we told everybody
I
April
thought they've
30th.
done a good job.
Yeah, everything's done, went smooth with all the rain and
I mean,
So
we-
Mike, you're saying though, just to get clear, that all the ones that need to be replaced are in the area where there's no houses?
Not all of them, half of them.
No.
So how do you propose taking care of the rest of them?
The other half, I will have to probably work some of those at night. I mean, one of them is right, there's 2 8-footers that's gotta be changed out double barrel.
right there
That's
at Patrick
At
Farms.
the entrance of Patrick Farm. I mean, you're talking about a 30-foot cut to change out those 2 pipes in the
Mhm.
I
road.
don't know if nighttime's the best time to be doing all that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking about to
Yeah, but
try
there's
not to
2
end it.
locations. You got 2 more locations that are bad.
Mhm.
Okay.
So, I
And the
mean,
bad thing about Patrick Farms, it's only one way in, one way out.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that's what kinda handicaps us right there a little bit.
Sure is.
So you're proposing to knock out all those other stuff for those 2 and then try to fix them whenever we can?
Yeah, and I mean, this only works if I get the pipes in. My plastic pipes are being delivered today.
Oh, so you don't even have the inventory?
The metal pipes, I've got part of the inventory. They're checking on when that will be delivered. I'll know this either this afternoon or Monday, you know, of where the pipes will be. But I've got just about enough in hand. If I had one more metal pipe, one more 8-footer, Jay, I could put the lower end in, and that's what they're checking to see if they've got one.
Is that something just like?
They're making the pipes right now. If they've got one squished that we can get, then I can go ahead and do the lower end.
One that's squished?
Squish one, arch, if they've arched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
So
saying.
do you think
I
you'll be able to
wondered
get them all
wait
in time to
till it
do
was
all
on the
this?
list.
I'm hoping I will. I'll know later
You'd have
this
something
evening.
say we have to.
Well, I mean, y'all wanna wait and take action Monday on it, or?
That's fine.
Well, I mean, is that something you wanna do now?
I mean, we've ordered the pipes, and I think where Brad's trying to get at, and one thing we was talking about, I mean, this job pretty well, I mean, we got this one, we've got several other state aids that we are overlaying this year, that we are changing the pipes out on. I mean, we're doing this all over on the state aid roads, this just happens to be one of the busiest roads we're doing. But it is really, it's impacted our culvert budget. I mean, we're depleted in the culvert budget, and it's gonna take so much limestone in this road right here, it's gonna get in the gravel budget pretty deep.
Gonna
You
get
gonna
deep.
do it all in Brad's district in that one job, huh? Man,
That's
must
where
be
it's
nice to be
going.
Brad. Get bridges and culverts
It
and,
could've got done 2 years
Ain't a
ago.
bad, ain't a bad place to be.
heck, yeah.
But,
District 3, you need to move there.
so that's something that we'll have to look at, but I mean,
Yeah.
on that, so.
Yeah.
But we're trying, I mean, we put together a plan that we're gonna be trying to
Yeah,
change
we'll get on
out.
animal shelter.
We'll probably rent a little bit of equipment, Jay, to just push this as quick as we can, and put a couple hoses out there and be doing 2 or 3 at a time.
Well, you
in
know
that
by
closure.
Monday, if you're gonna be able to get inventory of them?
I will know by Monday.
And
I was
what
hoping to
about
know
the,
by right now, but
Yeah.
I just hadn't heard back from the guy.
on Tim, are you saying it won't be completed today?
No, the county's gotta come in and just add some shoulder material so the guardrail posts, there's some.
But the guardrails will be set today?
Sir?
The are they working on the guardrails today?
No, because the county's gotta.
Oh, the shoulder work first.
Yeah, what happened, Brad, is that bridge ended up blowing out bigger, and when they went out there, I mean,
When they stake the guardrail.
when they take the guardrail off, it's right on the edge of the slope, and you've got to have 2 foot behind it, so we've got to build some shoulder, and we'd already done cut Shell Oil Road in half, so there's no way to get no crews over there to do what we.
Shell Oil, is that one of the state aids we're on the
That is
list?
on the state aid route that we're doing.
But now, even though this is state aid road, which we got a bunch, but we don't actually spend state aid dollars on them. We, you know, a lot of times just spend our own money.
But
We
we
don't
don't
give
want
but $4 million every.
Right.
We ain't got any, we don't have any own money to spend for the mic.
Well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we spend our in-house budget replacing all these culverts to try to get them to overlay, you know, ready to overlay.
Yeah.
So,
Do we have a time frame on when the bridge will get inspected and be able to open?
The bridge inspector was on the bridge this morning.
Okay.
But the guardrails have to be up obviously to open it, so we're trying, Mike's gonna have a crew out there. Monday morning to put the shoulder material down, so the guardrail folks lined up there.
That's this morning.
And all the inspection process would be completed by then too, so the guardrail would be the, I guess, in striping maybe would be the last.
The final deal, all right. So we
Hello.
can wait till.
All right,
thank you.
so we'll talk about this, what we do, talk
Hang
about
on
this Monday?
one second, Mike, up there at Northwest Rankin soccer fields, have you had a chance to go by there and look at that? If somebody hit that bridge?
Going by the day to look at it.
Okay. The reason why I asked the president, just emailed me this morning wanting to know, do you
I know
have a
it's wood guardrails on it.
Yeah.
I do know that.
Do you have a estimated time when we're gonna go do that chip seal?
It'll
You got it
be this summer, be after the 1st of June.
After, okay, all right.
That may be the first place I go to set up new chip sealer, just to kinda get set up and do, over there, but it won't be here. Talk to them, it'll be here the latter part of May by the 1st of June. So it'll be that time before we start.
That's your new machine coming in?
So it'll be that time before we start chip sealing.
Okay.
And, but I know that's wood guardrails, hand guardrails on that bridge, Jay. So I'm hoping that.
Yeah, there's somebody hit the bridge over there. I don't know how in the world you go fast enough on that road to take out or damage the bridge, but.
Which
someone
road
did.
was it?
That road over there at the soccer fields by, Spillway.
Oh, yeah.
That somebody came and hit the bridge. So,
Do we know who that was?
they do.
Oh, do they?
That's an insurance matter. It's our guardrail, and I'd like to address that with their insurance company if they have. We've done that before.
Good deal, we have.
We managed to recover
Yeah, if we
costs
can.
to repair bridge guardrails
all right.
from, auto insurance providers, in situations where the driver had coverage. So I'd like to at least look at that, Jay.
Well, I say, I don't know, I'll make sure and see if they do. He said they had a lady.
That's a public road that we maintain, and so it's ours.
Yeah.
And if they've damaged it, we have a recovery.
No, let's try
We
that.
got it covered.
All right.
I generally don't counsel that we go after an uninsured motorist.
Yeah.
On that kind of deal, but if they've got insurance, we need to at least explore that. We can get that cost back.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Anything else? All right. Executive, have a need to go into executive session? Wait, y'all need something? Anything
Yes,
else?
sir, we do. There's one item additional if y'all are willing to entertain it.
We have an agreement with our circuit clerk on conducting and providing services related to each of the annual election periods. And so we need to know from you guys, because the way we structured the agreement, it's for 1 year at a time and y'all revisit it. And so y'all asked us to make sure that we come back and revisit that agreement with y'all before we just assume that the agreement's in place. So do y'all intend to extend your current agreement with your circuit clerk to cover the election services that are listed in the agreement? Or do you want to revisit that with your circuit clerk? Is it 5,000?
5,000 per year.
It's 5,000, and they provide all of the maintenance to the equipment. They provide all of the inventorying of the equipment, the storage of the equipment, the getting it ready, the issue of programming and that type of thing is all included in that agreement.
I think it's worked pretty smooth since we've been doing that.
So, what you want to do?
I'd like to keep it the same, 5,000.
Okay.
All right.
Can
Need a
we
motion
get that
added?
added to the,
Yep.
to the agenda, please, as an item? Steve?
Motion
Make a
added to the
motion to
agenda? Who made the motion? Steve, you second? Motion added to the agenda by Steve, second by Daniel. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Motion approved by Steve, second by Daniel. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay.
Yeah, as a part of that, in the minutes, it'll reflect there's authority to issue the check to the circuit clerk for that cost at the appropriate time. She'll have to send us a request for payment, a billing statement, or whatever, but we'll make sure it's papered up.
Anything else?
That was all under
All right.
additional. We've got two items.
do I-
We've got matters to discuss in executive session that cover two issues, personnel and litigation.
Okay. So, do I have a motion? We
Motion,
need to go into executive session, so,
motion with
discuss
the need of
personnel and,
litigation.
litigation.
Second.
All right. Second by, a motion by Steve, second by Daniel. All in favor say aye. All opposed? All right.
Now I make the motion.
Now,
go
need
into-
to have, do I have a motion to go to executive session?
Yes.
Motion to go to executive session by Steve, second by Daniel, Daniel. All in favor say aye. All opposed? Okay.
And ask
All right.
everybody to clear the room.
Clear the room.